Hi everybody, this is Jason Williams. Today I want to talk about composition. I've talked to a lot of engineers that don't have a great definition for what composition is. Almost everybody knows what inheritance is, but in the object-oriented world, they're not necessarily two separate things. However, they both have their advantages and disadvantages, and I wanted to go over a couple of those today. So let's take a look at our example here. Let's imagine that we have a roofing company, and the roofing company has the need to rip shingles off and put new shingles on the roof of a house, let's say. And so we have a simple program that creates a roofer. There's a setup step, there's a tear off step, an apply shingles step, and a cleanup step. And if we take a look at the way the inheritance system is set up, we see that we have a roofer base, which is great, and it's got a couple of virtual methods that we won't bother talking too much about. And then we have a couple abstract methods that everything that inherits from roofer base has to implement. Let's go take a look at asphalt roofer. Asphalt is a type of shingle, in case you don't know, and this particular implementation is all about asphalt shingles. So when we apply the shingles, we're going to say new asphalt shingles nailed to the roof. And then when we tear off shingles, we're going to say asphalt shingles torn off and put in the dumpster. You can see that if we were to run this, we would end up with this output. All right, so let's go take a look at how the composition project has done the same thing. The program over in composition, it's a little bit different. There's an applier and a remover, and then the roofer gets the remover and the applier injected into it through the constructor. The steps are basically the same: set up, tear off, apply, and clean up. And so if we run this instead, let's go to the composition, we can see that we end up with the same output. Let's go take a look at the implementation over in the composition project. We've got a couple more classes than we had in the inheritance project. First we have a roofer. It takes the remover and the applier in the constructor, like we said before. And then in the tear off and the apply steps, it's calling the remover, tear off, and the applier, apply shingles method on those objects. And then we have an asphalt remover and an asphalt applier. Very simple. And they inherit from the iRoof applier and the iRoof remover. So why would I want to use the composition project instead of the inheritance project? Composition project is a bit more complicated. There's more moving parts. Even the program CS has a little more in it than comparably simplistic program CS over in the inheritance project. Why would I want to use composition? I think one of the things that makes composition a little more interesting is the idea of expanded features. So when we add features to the application, we're going to end up having to do a lot more over in the inheritance project than we will over in the composition project, because the composition project will have already been set up for expansion naturally, whereas the inheritance project will not be. So let's take a look at that. So let's imagine that we have a new requirement and we want to start using wood shingles instead of just asphalt shingles. So if we have a wood shingle roofer, that would probably be a good thing over in the inheritance project. So let's add that. So let's say wood roofer. And we're going to need to inherit from the roofer base. And we're going to say new wood shingles nailed to the roof. And then we're going to say wood shingles torn off and put in the dumpster. Perfect. So now, if we want to do a wood shingled roof, what are we going to do over in program CS? Well, instead of asphalt roofer, we're going to have wood roofer. And now, when we run our inheritance project, we're going to get the following output: wood shingles torn off, new wood shingles nailed to the roof. Perfect. The trouble with this is, let's say we wanted to do a mix. Let's say we wanted to remove wood shingles and put on asphalt shingles. Well, how would we go and do that? Well, we're going to go and we're going to add another class, right? So let's go up here. We'll say wood remover asphalt applier. And now we're going to have to implement the roofer base. And then we're going to end up applying asphalt shingles and tearing off wood shingles, right? So now if we wanted to do that, we would come over here and say wood remover asphalt applier. And so now we're tearing off wood shingles and applying asphalt shingles. Well, let's say we wanted to tear off asphalt shingles, but apply wood shingles. Okay, so now we're going to have to add a new class for that. And so you can see how it just sort of spirals once you end up adding one or more features to the application. Let's go over to the composition application and see how we would do it over there. If we wanted to create the idea that we are going to add asphalt or add wood shingles, then we would add a new applier. So we would say, a wood applier. If we were going to add wood shingles, and it's going to inherit from iRoof applier. And then if we were going to want a remover for wood shingles, then we would have a wood remover, and that's going to inherit from iRoof remover. We're going to implement that. And we're going to say wood shingles torn off and put in the dumpster. Okay, so now that those are added, what do we need to do for that mix of things? So let's see, our first mix was, well, wood applier and a wood remover. Right, so when we run the composition project, we're going to see wood and wood. Now we want to mix, right? Oh, we need to remove asphalt but add wood. Well, that's easy. All we have to do is use the existing asphalt, remove asphalt, add wood. Getting mixed up here. Asphalt. Okay, and so now all we have to do is, you can see asphalt shingles were torn off, new wood shingles were nailed to the roof, and then if we wanted it the other way around, we wanted an asphalt applier and a wood remover. We don't have to create a new class because we've broken it up and we're using composition to pass those into the roofer. And now we can see that wood shingles were torn off and asphalt shingles were nailed to the roof. Hopefully that gives an overview of one of the advantages that you get with composition. It sort of forces you to break your objects into smaller pieces, break different attributes and different actions your objects can take into pieces, and allows you to compose them on the fly so that you can avoid creating new classes and overloading and overloading and overloading. That's one of the big advantages. The other advantage I think we get, which is often overlooked with composition, is the ability to very easily apply like an adapter pattern. And so let's say we've got a new feature that we need to add. So let's switch back to the inheritance. And now it turns out that there are houses that have multiple layers of shingles that need to be removed before we apply our single layer of shingles in their place. And so if we were to create something that could remove a layer of asphalt and then remove a layer of wood from underneath the asphalt and then apply asphalt shingles, then we would need to create, you guessed it, a whole nother class that inherits from the roofer base. If instead it was the other way around and there was wood on top and asphalt on the bottom, we end up with having to create many classes, whereas composition allows us to mix and match. And so instead of getting into the nitty-gritty details, hopefully everybody understands what I mean by creating new classes. You would have a long list of classes here of all the different combinations you could possibly need. Up here in the composition project, what we can do instead is we can have, we can create a new class here called, let's call it a multi-remover. And then this will inherit from the iRemover, or the iRoof remover, sorry. And we're going to implement this interface. And let's make it have a constructor that takes multiple removers. Okay? And we're going to create that field. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to say for each remover in removers, tear off like that. And now we have this nice thing that we can also compose, and we can take it and feed it into the larger project. So let's say we had to remove asphalt and wood in that order. So we're going to say our remover is now a multi-remover, and it's going to have, what did I say, asphalt first, and then wood. And this is going to need to be an array. So now you can see that the multi-remover, we've composed it with multiple removers inside of it, and we can remove asphalt and then we can remove wood. And I didn't enforce the order, I suppose, so there's some work to be done there. But if I run the composition project now, we can see that asphalt shingles were torn off, wood shingles were torn off, and now new asphalt shingles were nailed to the roof. And so you can see very easily that this project is quite a bit easier to maintain because we're not having to create classes upon classes upon classes to accommodate for the inheritance structure that we have. So hopefully that gives you another idea of the difference between composition and inheritance. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks for watching.